Football is back. We have the week one previews for both the Redraft and the APFL leagues, and the APBL has grown by another member. All of this and more in 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast, sponsored by Nature Coast Tailgating and Apparel, the official apparel of the FSA. Pretty light crowd tonight. We got one person out there. If you're out there, please say hello to me. Two people, both of you say hello to me. A week one preview coming at you tonight because football is back tomorrow. Not a whole lot to talk about from the redraft side as we're still waiting on people to get lineups in. It's hard for me to pick a game of the week. It's hard for MFL to pick a game of the week. Gerard's on with us. What's up, brother? Ringgold on with us as well. What's up, you two? So hard to pick a game of the week this week. MFL couldn't do it either because we have 27 teams as of 2 hours ago that still need to set their lineups out of 72. Now, not a huge deal. Game doesn't happen until tomorrow, and unless you have anybody planned for Kansas City or for Detroit, you don't really have to worry about it. But if you're having problems setting your lineup because this is a new platform for you, make sure you reach out to me sooner than later. When I mean sooner than later, I mean like now, because immediately after I get done doing the show tonight, I'm moving over to do a draft. And then after the draft, I'm crashing because I have to get up early in the morning and drive to Charleston for my checkup. And then I have to turn around and drive all the way back before Thursday night football. Ferg, you were the last guy in the APFL that did not have a lineup in yet. I don't know if you put one in, and if you did, I apologize because I don't have it ready for the show. You're the only team in the APFL that I do not have ready, so I apologize to you. So redraft, set your lineups, get with me sooner than later. If you still have errors on your roster because for some kind of crazy draft reason or whatever, the waiver wire is open. If you want any of the details of what that looks like, go back and watch last night's show. And because we don't really know who the week one team's game of the week should be, don't have time. Okay, didn't have time to check it. Okay, no worries. I'm glad you got the redraft in there as well. So get the APFL set up whenever you can. You're just going to be blank whenever I get to that part of the show tonight. So since we don't really have a game of the week, I can say that the two teams that you should be chasing this year are the two teams that went to the final last year, and we did not actually have a World Championship crowd last year. We had a shared championship between Ferguson, who keeps popping up right here. Says I get to that when I get home. And then the Bearcats from the Hydras region. Lucky ass Ferg is playing in the Scorpions region this year. The last time that we will have the Scorpions region. More details of that on last night's show as well. So make sure you go out and check that out. So now we're going to get into the APFL portion of the week one preview, and I've got graphic overload for you tonight. So we are going to start in the, and let me make sure I get this right here. We are going to start in the AFC North with our first game between the Baltimore Blackbirds and the Pittsburgh Forge. These two teams are 1-1 against each other lifetime. Currently, Pittsburgh is favored by a little bit. When I say a little bit, I think this is our margin of victory game of the week, at least from a preview standpoint. Pittsburgh favored 82-81, but the actual margin of victory is 0.31. So that's going to be a great game. Here's the lineups that you're looking at for those two teams. I will only bring up highlights if I find something interesting in a team's logo as we're going through this. And there is the Forge's lineup for you. Next game that we have also sticking in the AFC North is Cleveland Dogs against the Cincinnati Cats. These two teams also 1-1 against each other lifetime. Cleveland favored by a huge margin in this game, though, by 22 points. Here are the lineups for those two teams. And if you're watching this later, Make sure you go back and pause this so you can watch it. The first team that we've come across that's only starting one running back so far. Yeah, that was you. Wish I would have swapped over and saw that sooner. That was you with the Baltimore Blackbirds. All right, so let's get on to the next matchup. We are going to switch over to the NFC side as we're going to go through each one of these divisions. We already did the AFC North. Now we're going to do the NFC North. We have a great game between the Chicago Monsters and the Green Bay Cheeseheads. Again, these two teams are 1-1 against each other lifetime, and right now we have another close matchup where Chicago is currently favored 83-82 with a margin of victory of 102, but there is probably a reason behind that, and you're going to see it here in just a second as I switch over to the Cheeseheads lineup. They're still missing a player from their lineup, so instead of having 6 or 7 starters right now, they only have 6. So once they get that last player in there, no doubts that they'll probably end up being the favored team in that matchup. The other pairing that we have in the NFC North is between the Detroit Pride and the Minnesota Norsemen. Minnesota Norsemen have a new general manager this year. These two teams are 1-1 against each other lifetime. Minnesota currently favored 93-89. Lineups for those two teams. There's the Detroit Pride. There is the Minnesota Norsemen. All right, now we're going to shift gears back over to the AFC. We're going to go AFC East. We got the Buffalo Mafia versus the New York Wings. Buffalo is 0-2 against the Wings lifetime. However, they are favored in this matchup 95-91. Here is your lineups for those two teams. Interesting one here, even though it's just my team. I am going to start 2 tight ends. That might not be the end-all, be-all final lineup for me. But either way, I am going to start 2 tight ends in this contest. Staying up there in the AFC East, we got the Miami Barracudas with the New England Rebels. Miami also new general manager this year. They are 2-0 lifetime, and they are favored to win this game 98-66. Lineups for those two teams. There's Miami, and there is New England. All right, switching over to the NFC East, we have the New York Mammoths versus the Dallas Desperados. Mammoths 2-0, but Dallas is favored in this matchup 81-75. This was a lot of fun to fix the spelling error in this earlier today. I had this graphic already done and then realized Sky Moore actually has 2 Y's as I was doing it a little bit for somebody later on. So I had to go back and fix that one. Interesting lineup here for the Dallas Desperados as they will be starting 3 running backs on their lineup. Final matchup in the NFC East, we have the Washington Hogs versus the Philadelphia Harpies. Washington holds a 2-0 record and is favored in this matchup 83-70. Here is the lineup for Washington. Here is the lineup for Philadelphia. All right, back over to the AFC, and we're going to the South now with the Houston Toros versus the Tennessee Spartans. Houston holds a 2-0 record and is favored 93-88. It's only a 5-point difference, though. Should be a fairly quick or close game. Looking at the starting lineup here for Houston. Starting lineup for Tennessee. And then in our other pairing down there in the South, we got the Indianapolis Stallions versus the Jacksonville Wildcats. Wildcats with a new general manager this year as well. 2 teams are split so far for the year, or for last year, 1-1. Indianapolis has a slight advantage in this game. Final score there by projection is 77-76. A margin of victory going to Indianapolis of 1.21 points. There is the starting lineup for Indianapolis. There is the starting lineup for Jacksonville. So now we're going to move down to the NFC South. First game on the docket we have is the Atlanta Dirty Birds versus the Carolina Power Claws. Carolina is 2-0 lifetime and is favored in this matchup 82-76. Gerard, who is the general manager, the new general manager of the Jacksonville Wildcats, says boo. Here is the lineup for those two teams. Oh, let me get your comment off the screen there so everybody can see the full lineup. There is Atlanta. Atlanta starting 2 tight ends this weekend. And there is the lineup for the Power Claws. All right. Last pairing in the NFC South, we've got the Angels, who had a great year last year, versus the Tampa Bay Pirates. Teams are split 1-1 last year. However, New Orleans is favored hugely, the biggest margin of victory for this upcoming week at 101-38. Lineup for the Angels. Lineup for the Pirates. All right, we shifting over to the AFC West. AFC West, first pairing we have is Denver Mustangs versus the Las Vegas Marauders. Two teams are 1-1 from last year. Denver is favored in this one, 102-86. Lineup for Denver. Going with a 4 wide receiver set. Lineup for Vegas. Going with the 3 running back set. And then we've got the Kansas City Arrowheads versus the LA Warhorse. LA Warhorse are 2-0 against the Arrowheads and are favored to win this matchup 72-63. Lineup for the Arrowheads. 4 wide receiver set. Here's the team that I found where I had spelled Sky correctly with the 2 Ys. And then the lineup for the Warhorse. Why can't you start Kittle? Is he hurt and I'm not tracking? You should be able to start him. Let me know what's up with that. All right, so and then we've got our final 2 pairings over in the NFC West. We'll start off with the Arizona Redbirds, Ferg, if you're still out there, and the San Francisco Miners. These 2 teams split last year. Right now, San Francisco Miners are set to score 80 points. And like I said a little bit ago when Ferg was on, he does not have his lineup set yet. So we'll go over and see what San Francisco looks like they've got. It looks like they're going with a 4 wide receiver set. He's questionable. Gotcha. All right. I thought maybe it was a glitch in the system or something like that, which is why you couldn't start him. And then our final pairing in the APFL, we have last year's world champion Seattle Raptors playing against the LA Bighorns. The Raptors are actually 0-2 against the Bighorns, but they are set to win this game 91-70. Lineups for Seattle. Lineup for the LA Bighorns. All right. And that is your week 1 previews. Hopefully, as we get everybody's lineups in on the redraft side and everybody's lineups in on the APFL side, that will be a little bit cleaner going into next week as we do the week 1 wrap up and the week 2 preview. Looking forward to doing that. Yeah, so I'm actually getting ready to talk about that right now. So you said so is Cup. So NFL news, going to bring that up right now. So the latest and greatest on Travis Kelce is he's believed to have avoided long-term knee injury, but his status to play tomorrow night is still in doubt. Cup is officially out for the week, according to head coach, with a hamstring injury, and he might even find himself on the IR, but it'll be the short IR where it might only be out 4 weeks. And then in sad news, former wide receiver Mike Williams, who played for both the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Buffalo Bills, reportedly died Tuesday at the age of 36 in a construction accident. I didn't read the entire article, but it sounds like he was probably or possibly crushed by a beam. So thoughts and prayers out to family and friends. And that is all of the NFL news. Now we're going to get into the NFL Week 1 predictions for our primetime games. So on Thursday night, opening night tomorrow, we got Detroit at Kansas City. Sunday night football, we got Dallas at the New York Giants. And Monday Night Football, we got Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. Right now, Kansas City is favored by 5.5. Dallas is favored by 3. And Buffalo is favored by 2.5. I like all of the favorites in there, especially liking Kansas City for Thursday Night Football. Got the hat, going to put it on. Chiefs for Thursday night. And that show went a whole lot faster than I thought I was going to. I'm sure next week's will probably go a little bit longer as we're doing not only the wrap up, but the preview for week 2. Probably a good thing that we were able to get this knocked out in about 15 minutes because I have a draft in 45 minutes with a bunch of guys on the West Coast that is going to keep me up super late. And then I still have to get up in the morning to go drive to my appointment all the way over in Charleston. So in case you didn't get a chance to watch the show, don't you dare put on a Dallas hat. So I know, Gerard, this is the first time that you've actually been a part of the league this season, even though you've kind of been around me for quite a while. And I almost forgot to do it tonight. It wasn't until I was actually sitting down to lunch earlier today that made me think about the hat thing. So Thursday nights, whoever I think is going to win the game, the hat will go on during the show. Man, something's hanging off the corner of the hat right here. So if we ever get a Dallas Thursday night game, maybe even before Thanksgiving, and they happen to be the favorite, I'm going to throw that thing on. I think I only own one Dallas hat too. I'm looking at it over there on the wall right now. I don't think I have multiple Dallas hats. So the one and only will be on the head. So I apologize, New York Giants fan. I do have 2 Giants hats that are really nice though. The one that I really like is my white on white that just has the NY on there. It's a super nice hat. For those who were unable to watch the show last night live or have not gone back and watched it, just wanted to put the announcement out there again. For my father's services, they're going to be held on 16 September at Tobias Funeral Home in Beaver Creek, Ohio. That will be from 10 a.m. to noon. Again, like I said, I know that a couple of the people in the Great Lakes region says that they are going to make it, so I very much appreciate that. Right after we have his services from 10 to noon, the burial will take place right after that. And then we also mentioned last night that we finally found a way to honor Dad. So what we're going to do is the General Manager of the Year award at the end of this season is going to have his name associated with it from now and forever. So if you win the General Manager of the Year award this year, you will be winning the John Bashore General Manager of the Year award. We also had a couple other announcements that we made about the Hall of Fame last night, about the change in the Southwest region for 2024 and a name change for the Fanatically Real Redraft League for 2024 as well. And I know we're just getting started with 2023, but we cannot neglect next year. If you want to get all of those details, make sure you shift over and watch last night's show. Also, speaking of 2024, because you all know that the APBL, which is our Alliance Professional Baseball League, is coming in 2024. We have 12 members committed to it now, as Kelvin Ringgold came on with me last night and says that he wanted to be a part of it. Unfortunately for him, as an Orioles fan, that team was already taken, and he has decided that he is going to take the San Diego Padres. So, Kelvin, you're already locked in for that. If you're still interested in being part of the baseball and you want to know what it's all about, hit us up. We'll put you in the Discord chat. Me and Gerard will talk your ear off about it. Hey, when was the last time you checked our baseball? So everybody knows we will be using a site that we've not used before. It's called Fantrax. If you want to get an early start and start looking around Fantrax, we will be using it because it's going to allow us to do what we want to do with promotion and relegation league. It's going to allow us to have multiple copies of players. It's going to allow us to have the MLB level teams and AAA, AA, and single A teams as well. It's going to allow us to have a lot of features in there, and we're switching over to them. It's very much from a competition or a commissioner standpoint, very much like what MFL allows us to do with all of the fancy stuff. Maybe not as graphic intensive as what we get from MFL, but there are no other platforms out there that will allow us to do what we want to do with APBL in 2024. And I see that he is out there. In case everybody knows, Chico Spears, it's Kelvin Ringgold. He keeps popping up, and I've said his name a couple of times, and everybody's probably like, hey, that's not the guy, and the commission's going crazy, but that's the guy. I promise you it's him. So we will be back next week on this same time, 8:30 p.m. East Coast on the 13th of September. We will do our week 1 wrap up and our week 2 preview. So make sure you come back for that. If you have any questions, please hit me up on Discord sooner than later. Don't forget to set your lineups for those 27 teams that are still out there on the redraft side. Make sure you set your lineups. And Ferg, don't forget to set your lineup in the APBL or Lions Professional Football League, the APFL. Don't forget. That's it. I want to thank the sponsors. Thank you to Mondo and the boys from the Recast, the official music of the FSA, and thank you to Brandon Valenka, Nature Coast Tailgating Apparel, the official apparel of FSA. And I'm 12-9, and you're 9-12, and I haven't touched the team all year. That's a pretty good sign. I like this league already. So for those who don't know, me and Gerard decided to do a 2-team league throughout this whole year so we could test all the features on it and stuff like that. And I have not touched the team at all. I have not made a roster move. I have not made a lineup change the entire time, and still somehow I'm 3 games ahead of him. So I'll take it. I don't remember how much we set that one for 21 or 22 games before we go into the playoffs. We've got to sit down and get that all banged out for the APBL so we can start putting some meat to those rules for anybody who's asking for them over on the Discord channel. So thank you for watching tonight's show. If you're not already following us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok, make sure you go out and find us. You can find us everywhere at iPlayFSA. Don't forget, we are Fanatically Real. Everybody have a great night. Toby, I'm getting ready to switch gears and ready for our draft here shortly. We will see you all next week. Sorry, I didn't mean to brag. I mean, that's pretty good, though, to be above 3 games ahead of you, and I'm not doing anything at all. But make sure you hit us up if you need anything. We'll be back next week, and I'll hit you all from the road while I'm on my trip tomorrow. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great evening.